allowing only 1 run, keeping his team in the game. And then along came Ted Simmons with a 2-run blast to give Milwaukee a lead, later tied by the Yankees. But Paul Molitor won it with a homer, and Raleigh Fingers came on to close the door, the game-winning pitcher. So today, it is game number 4. The Yankees leading 2-1.
A beautiful Indian summer afternoon in New York. Yankee Stadium once again will be filled to capacity as the Milwaukee Brewers and the New York Yankees go at game number 4. The Brewers came to town, their backs to the wall, but Ed Simmons came out of it, Molitor came out of it. There is the temperature, 61 degrees. You couldn't ask for a better afternoon. And in game 4, of course, it's going to be Vukovich, and it will be the big right-hander, and that will be Rick Russell. This ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Chevrolet, who invite you to see all the good things for 1982 at your local Chevy dealers, and Chevy makes good things happen. And by Lowenbrau. When you want the taste of a truly great beer, there's really only one. Tonight, let it be Lowenbrau. Yankee Stadiums, we said, filled to capacity, and they had people on their feet at Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia in extra innings. The Phillies get a home run by Vukovich, that's John Vukovich, and Philadelphia ties the series at 2, a 6-5 win, and it will be do or die tomorrow.
And who knows, in view of that game in Philadelphia, it may be a day for Vukovich, as we'll see. But last night's game, game number 3 of this series, filled with controversy, in particular 2 plays, 2 umpire calls. Let's begin, because the first incident involved Lou Piniella, the second one Dave Winfield. With the bottom of the second, Piniella leading off. Piniella skied one to right field. You look at it there. Charlie Moore, the normal time catcher, moving over to get the ball. Clearly in fair territory, no question about it. Misplayed the ball, couldn't hold it, and yet umpire Dale Ford, the right field umpire, called it foul. Bowie Kuhn, the commissioner, viewing the tapes with me later, said it was an errant call, no question. Then in the 6th, Winfield on first, grounder, Piniella the pitcher, over to third. Winfield argued vehemently that he was safe. He took the extra base, or tried to, because Bando had moved in to back up the pitcher on the play, but Yount got over to cover third. There you see it very, very clearly. Make your own judgment. May be arguable. Commissioner Kuhn told owner George Steinbrenner and me that even that call might have been errant. Under any circumstances, the Yankee owner, never known for his shyness, is outraged by the whole system of appointment of umpires for this series. All year long, the various clubs rate the umpires. It is Steinbrenner's contention that American League President Lee MacPhail has assigned the lowest rated umpires to this series. You'll be reading more about this and hearing more about it in the future. Quickly to the Brewers. They appear a different team today. As I noted earlier, in a cut-in, brimming with confidence. They've got their ace pitcher going. We'll have to assess his strength. He's battling back from the flu, but now they think they've got the momentum and not the Yankees. But the umpire controversy, the year of discontent in baseball, continues. Now, an examination of the pitches by the Twin D, Don Drysdale.
Thank you, Howard. We talked about the pitchers. It'll be Rick Russell for the New York Yankees. His first ever appearance in postseason play in the trade with the Chicago Cubs, a record of 4-4. And he will be opposed by, as Howard said a while ago, the other Vukovich. This is Pete Vukovich. We've talked about him the last couple of days. He has not been here. He finally got into New York. He had the flu, 102 fever. He says he's ready to go. He told Bob Rogers that, and he said, by golly, I'm going to go with my best. His record, 14-4 on the year. And also for Vukovich, his first ever postseason play. It could be a good matchup. Simmons' bat came alive, and so did the Brewers. And Howard talks with Ted Simmons right after this commercial timeout.
Just as Don Drysdale was talking about the need for life in your dugout, you lit a fuse with that 2-run home run. You sensed it coming, didn't you?
Well, I don't know if I sensed it coming, but I certainly sensed that it was necessary. You can never really predict when you're going to hit a home run, and when it happens, it just happens. But I knew going into that 7th inning, down 1-0 last night, things were pretty quiet. And then after I hit the home run, came to the bench, and people seemed very excited, and relaxed a little more, and got back to being a little more themselves. And when New York ended up coming right back and tying the ball game, people didn't get uptight. They were still relaxed. We knew Raleigh was still in the game, and it was still tied, so I figured we'd still be all right. All we had to do was score again.
And you did. And now the feeling is, as you see it, that everything's changed, particularly the momentum, correct?
Well, one game doesn't make a series, there's no question, but I think the people are much more relaxed on our ball club now. They feel like, hey, okay, we've won a ball game. It's the first time any of us, or most of us anyway, have been in a playoff, and especially the younger guys feel more accustomed to what's going on here now. Again, being more themselves and relaxing. Our bus ride to the ballpark was today was much different than it had been the day before or any time in Milwaukee.
Finally, is Vukovich ready, do you think, in the wake of the bug that attacked him?
Well, he has to be ready. There's no tomorrow, more or less, as the cliche goes. I know that Vukovich has been sick, and for a guy that big and that strong and that competitive to get sick, it had to be something pretty special. Today he's coming out to pitch, and hopefully he'll be ready to pitch, and there's really not much we can do about it. All we can do is try to win today's ball game, Howard. If it means Vukovich pitching well or half sick, that's what we're going to have to do.
Good luck to you.
Thanks, Howard.
Well, as Simmons said, one game does not make a series, but that one game kept them from spending this afternoon in Milwaukee. Another guy you've just got to marvel at, that is the big left fielder, Dave Winfield. Howard talks with him.
One of the most remarkable efforts I've ever seen in my life, David. That leap high above the wall, reminiscent of your catch during the season against Baltimore. Did you think you had it?
I thought I did. This was an important time to try to get that ball. It was just a little bit too high, but I don't risk life or limb or just do that just for the show of it. You know, I'm trying to make the catch. We want to win the game, trying to make something happen. Unfortunately, it wasn't last night, so we're looking at this afternoon.
Still, you're having a tremendous series, and people on a national level getting a chance to understand why you were paid so much by the owner. Now, in that regard, do you feel that this club is ready to recapture the momentum, or did last night's defeat put you people down?
No, we're in good shape. We need to win one of these 2 games we have left at home. We don't look beyond this. We know there's another important series ahead of us, but we're not taking anything for granted. This is a potent Milwaukee ball club. We beat their good pitchers early, but they're a gritty team. They had Raleigh fingers in there. We're just throwing the kitchen sink at one another, but this is the way you like to play baseball.
Were you out or safe at third in the 6th inning last night?
I still contend I was safe. I was mad too, but that's part of the ball game, and I'll do the same thing today if necessary. But it'll turn out in my favor this time.
What's your feeling about Vukovich? You faced him.
He's a pitcher that will he'll do anything. He's liable to throw anything on that ball up to home plate. He mixes his pitches well. He has a good assortment. He'll come from any angle, anything to get you out. He fields his position well, and have to give him a lot of credit, but not enough credit to get a win today.
Good luck.
Thanks, Howard.
There you see what we were talking about, a beautiful Indian summer afternoon in New York, and Yankee Stadium filled to capacity as the New York Yankees make their way onto the field in game number 4. The crowd will be well over 50,000, and there to honor America, along with Robert Merrill, our national anthem by the one and only Miss Pearl Bailey.
We direct your attention now to the microphone near home plate. And now, to honor America, let us join both Miss Pearl Bailey and Robert Merrill in our national anthem.
Oh, say, Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched for so laughingly gleaming.
And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there.
Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Just superb, outstanding, Miss Pearl Bailey and Robert Merrill.
Gives you a good feeling, doesn't it?
Oh, it does, Howard, and there's a good feeling throughout this whole ballpark.
All right, the Milwaukee Brewers lineup leading off. Paul Molitor being followed by Robin Yount, then Cease Cooper, and then the big man last night, Ted Simmons, along with Molitor, of course. Struggling is Ben Oglivie. Thorman Thomas back in center field, and Roy Howell, the designated hitter. Sal Bando, the great veteran, and finally Jim Gantner, the scrappy one.
There's the defensive alignment for the New York Yankees. Bob Watson will be at first base. He's been a fixture there during the series. At second base, Willie Randolph. The shortstop will be Larry Milbourne, filling in for the injured Bucky Dent. We've told you that story. And there's the old pro at third, still looking for his first hit, Greg Nettles. But he's thrown some leather at the Brewers. In left field, what a player, Dave Winfield. Winfield in left. In center field will be Jerry Mumphrey. And over in right field, made some fine catches last night, Reggie Jackson. Behind the plate is Rick Cerrone. And on the mound, making his first start ever in postseason play, will be the veteran right-hander, Rick Russell. There's the numbers on Russell, his 12th start as a Yankee, as he faces Molitor, Yount, and Cooper here in the Brewer first. Paul Molitor, on the year, hit .267, as you see, a couple of home runs and 19 RBIs. You've got to be ready on Russell. And the first pitch, he delivers a strike, and we're underway, game number 4.
As Don has already indicated, Rick is a quick worker, looks kind of roly-poly. Don't be misled. An excellent athlete, fields his position very well, and a good base runner.
Just missing outside, so the count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. Russell, a sinker-slider type pitcher. He's kind of like a right-handed Tommy John. You look for a lot of ground balls if he's right. There's one to Nettles. Make sure he has it, and just does get him.
Tell you, Don, Molitor gets down amazingly fast running from the right side.
He does just that, and that is after even that bad ankle operation, Howard. There's one gone, and that will bring on Robin Yount, who is 2 for 11 in the series. You see a .273 season average, 10 home runs and 49 RBIs. Another chopper. That to Milbourne. To Watson. 2 gone. So the first 2 hitters that you see facing Rick Russell, you would say, if you want to kind of make it very quick, you would say that Russell could be on his game plan. That is something you look for off of Rick, the ground ball outs.
Well, more than any other owner in the game, George Steinbrenner figures in the day-to-day doings of his team. He went down and talked to Russell today before the game, and he said, look, For 10 years, you labored in oblivion in Chicago. You wanted this kind of chance. You got it today. Throw as hard as you can. Go as far as you can. That's enough.
Cecil Cooper with 2 outs in the Milwaukee first. He's had 3 hits and 11 at-bats in the series. A good year at .320. A chopper, and there's Russell, as Howard said, a good athlete, and 3 ground balls out, and the Brewers are gone in the first inning, 1-2-3. To the Yankee first, no score. The Yankees coming up.
Willie Randolph leading off as always. Then Jerry Mumphrey, the switch hitter. Then Dave Winfield, and what a series he's having. Then Red Giroux. After him, first game hero Oscar Gamble. Nettles, who's still not gotten a hit in this series. Then Bob Watson, who has been a surprise hero. Then Larry Milburn, who's been nothing but steady. Rick Cerrone, who's been meeting the ball better than his average suggests. Don?
There's the Milwaukee defensive alignment. It'll be Cecil Cooper at first base for the Brewers. At second base, the scrappy Jimmy Gantner. The shortstop, Robin Yount. And moving across over to third base will be the veteran Sal Bando. He's had himself quite a series so far. In left field, Ben Ogilvy. Moving across to center field, and that will be Gorman Thomas back in the lineup today. He was a designated hitter last night. And over in right field is Paul Molitor. Behind the plate and doing the catching, Teddy Simmons, who has 4 RBIs in the series, and on the mound, making his first postseason start, will be veteran right-hander Pete Vukovich. You see the record of 14-4 and a .355 earned run average. Vukovich was sick. He was supposed to pitch the second game of this series at County Stadium, Milwaukee. But about 3 o'clock on Thursday morning, he woke up with a chill, and at game time had a temperature of 103.7. Last night it was back to 99.4, they say. He's been taking penicillin and aspirin to knock the fever down, but he told Bob Rogers he's ready to go. And Bob says, if you say you're okay with me, big guy, that's all right. There's Buck down in the Milwaukee dugout. Here we sit at game time, 61 degrees, as Randolph leads it off for the Yankees. 1 ball and no strikes. Randolph, 3 hits and 14 at-bats in the series. He has an RBI. Vukovich, I think Dave Winfield said it properly, Howard. He's kind of like he'll throw you everything but the kitchen sink. You'll put a little on, take a little off, and then surprise you with a pretty good fastball.
He'll do anything to win.
Exactly.
That's what David said.
There's his career against New York, 0-2. Tell you what kind of year Vukovich had after the first 2 ball games. He lost his first 2 games of the season and then ended up 14-2. Ground ball, Robin Yount, the big hop. To Cooper, 1 away for New York. That will bring on the switch hitting center fielder, Jerry Mumphrey. 2 hits and 13 at-bats in the series.
What the Yankees won't talk about, but what you know is on their minds, is their hitting. All year long, they've been inconsistent at the plate. That's Gloria Mumphrey, Jerry Mumphrey's wife.
0-1 to Jerry. He tried to turn it over a little bit. You see, Vukovich will have a little chat with himself. Simmons, as he threw it back, got it caught up with the umpire. Vuk will get up and he'll get on top, and just a reminder saying, get yourself up there. He's a big guy. Two balls and a strike to Mumphrey. There's Bob Lemon sitting alongside the starter, Rick Russell. To Yount again on an in-between hop. To Cooper in time, and there's 2 gone. With 2 outs, that will bring on Dave Winfield. And you can hear by that applause, Howard, that he has already captured the hearts of a lot of New York fans.
Some controversy over whether or not Buck Rogers should have pitched Vukovic, fighting back from the flu today, or pitched Moose Hawes. Well, Rogers went with the notion, I got to go with my best today to even get there tomorrow.
That's exactly right. We're talking with Harvey Keene. We were saying, well, it's Randy Roster today and Randy Roster tomorrow. Winfield, an even 500 in the playoff series, 6 hits in 12 at-bats. You saw that 294 average on the year. Vukovic falls behind, 2 balls and no strikes. You can see they might have been wishing that he was supposed to pitch at home. 8-1. County Stadium's a good ballpark to pitch in. We talked about that as he falls behind Winfield, 3 balls and no strikes.
We're in a good ballpark to pitch in if you can get them to hit it in Death Valley. Called strike. There's none better. There's Regiroux on deck. But at this stage of the day, the entire infield is in shadows. No problem for the batter in terms of vision. But left field, that's the death spot.
Yes, sir. That is the Sunfield. There he comes with a 3-2 breaking pitch. He was not going to give in to Winfield. There you see what the left fielders, Winfield and Ogilvie, will have to battle. And the rest of the ballpark in shadows. The center field.
It was about this time of the day that Amoros made the catch on Berra in that left field corner.
Got him as Winfield strikes out, and the Yankees are gone 1-2-3. And after the first inning of play, the Brewers nothing and the Yankees nothing. Russell, his first extra season start. Howard talked to Rick Cerrone about Rick.
Rick, capsulize Rick Reichel for me. What he throws, how good he is.
Well, to me, I compare Rick, the right-handed Tommy John. He's a sinker ball, curveball pitcher. Doesn't overpower anybody. Doesn't blow anybody away, but he's got good control. And very rarely, when he throws an excellent game, he very rarely throws a pitch down the middle of the plate. Everything's on the corners, up, down, in and out.
A strike to Ted Simmons, and takes the next pitch outside. The count evens up at a ball and a strike. Russell, in his last couple of starts, the Orioles hit him pretty hard with extra base hits in the 3rd inning and knocked him out. Outside to Simmons. And prior to that, the Cleveland Indians knocked him out in the 2nd inning. But these two know one another from their National League days.
Look at Vukovic. Pete in front of a heater. You know about his battle with the virus.
Skied to right. Jackson, a late start, but now comes on and makes a catch. Reggie lost it.
Well, Pete couldn't have thrown much better than he did in the 1st inning. Say that. So if he's got chills or anything, he's battling that as well as the Yankees.
Well, it was like Paul Molitor last night, who had the same thing. And he went 3 for 4 with a game-winning home run. Whether that's an omen or not, we'll wait and see. Ben Ogilvie stands in. Takes the strike.
Here's a guy who's been suffering. And yet, it's out of all proportion to the year he had. He didn't hit for big average, but he's got great power.
0 for 11 in the series with 6 strikeouts. In batting practice, Ben Ogilvie put on quite a show. He wore out the upper deck at Yankee Stadium.
In other words, if anybody's due, he is. 72 RBIs on the short season.
The 2-1 pitch. The count even at 2-2. 1 out.
There's his lady, Sammy Ogilvie. We met their youngster last night.
2-2, the count to Ogilvie. Jammed him again, and it's Humphrey. That is out number 2.
So The pattern changes a touch, Don. First inning, everybody hitting it on the ground. First 2 up this inning, hitting it in the air.
Number 20.
And Gorman Thomas will stand in with 2 outs. Thomas hit in 10 at-bats on the year. He's also gone down with a strikeout route. He struck out 5 times. The Brewers in the first 2 games struck out 26 times against Yankee pitching, but only once last night. 1 ball and no strikes to Gorman Thomas.
Well, Tommy John was an angry man this morning. So was Bob Lemon. I'll explain why during the course of the contest.
1 ball and 1 strike to Gorman Thomas. No score in the Brewers' second inning. You can sit at home and join with us from that center field camera shot. Without a man on second base, you'll see the location signs and just kind of work right along with either Russell or Vukovic and see where they want to try and throw. There's Cerrone, wants the fastball away. And got it there. 2-2. Look at this. Give it to me away. Look at it. Now the Yankee fans start their hand clapping for the strikeout. Foul. They started that a few years ago with Ron Guidry as he mowed down batter after batter against the California Angels.
You worked that game. It was an incredible performance.
It was unbelievable.
19, wasn't it?
That's it. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Gorman Thomas. And the count goes full at 3-2.
Gorman had an idea, but wisely refrained.
Russell, just that little half side saddle windup. Nettles cuts it off in the hole, and that retires the Brewers in the second inning. And after 1.5, it's Milwaukee nothing, the Yankees nothing. Pretty good stat. 1 run the last 16 2/3. Howard talked to Chet Simmons about Vukovic.
What makes Vukovic so effective?
Well, he's really a very talented man, and you know, people hear a lot about him and see all of his, you know, wildness and craziness, and think he's a little unusual. But when he gets out on that mound, he has the ability, the rare ability to execute. And I don't care what you like or what you're trying to be or what you are or any of that stuff. If you're a pitcher, you walk out on the mound. If you can't execute, you're out there by yourself. And again, he has that rare ability to throw the ball, you know, the breaking ball behind in the count, 3-1 or 3-2. Do the kinds of things that keep batters off stride, and he stays effective. But again, the bottom line for not only Vuk, but any pitcher is if you can execute.
Reggie Jackson fouling the first pitch away. The count is 0-1. Jackson with 2 hits and 12 at-bats in the series. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, that was a classic example with Teddy just said. Pitching from behind. He had Winfield in the first inning, 3 balls and no strikes, and pitched from behind and struck him out. 2 balls and a strike to Reggie Jackson. No score, Yankee second. Base hit to left. Ogilvie will play it on a couple of hops, so Jackson's aboard, the leadoff hitter, here in the Yankee second inning. And here comes Oscar Gamble.
Reggie wisely goes with this pitch. Watch him guide it to left field. He can do this when he has his confidence back, which he does. When he was in that horrendous slump and batting .199, he could do nothing.
Now Jackson realizing how Vukovic pitches, and hitters will do that. He knows that his fastball, if he keeps it down and away from him, it has a tendency to tail and sink. There's no need to try and really pull that pitch, and Reggie just executed perfectly. Howard, as you mentioned, just took the ball to the left side. The leadoff single. Gamble coming on. You recall how Vukovich got here was that big trade with the St. Louis Cardinals past winter that brought Raleigh Fingers and Ted Simmons to the Milwaukee Brewers for Sixto Lizcano, David Green, pitchers Larry Sorensen, and Dave LaPointe.
Not too shabby a trade.
Not too bad at all. Here's Gamble.
.89 miles an hour and a beautifully located pitch. Over the inside, backing him off, and yet getting enough of the plate to be a strike.
Gamble, 4 hits in 5 at-bats in this series. 0-2 the count. Kind of turned that ball over a little bit, got up on top. It kind of sunk and tailed away from Gamble.
Surprised Oscar, who looked back quizzically at the home plate umpire. Our friend, Mr. Phillips.
That's the crew chief.
Willie keeping his hands warm. It's chilly in the dugout.
Look out. All the way to the backstop. As Simmons has to run it down. Jackson makes a turn. He'll hold right there. There's another look at it. This was really a wild pitch here. Here's a major league wild pitch. That almost got Gamble in the back leg. Simmons, no chance.
Is there a major league wild pitch?
When they're that bad, those are major league wild pitches.
Meantime, Oscar, 4 out of 5, came into the playoffs. You'll remember 0 for 27. Many surprised by Lemon's decision to play him rather than Bobby Mercer. And look at that graphic. Pete threw only 1 wild pitch in 150 innings this season. I'll tell you who's really stumping around. Growling. Man up next, Mr. Nettles, who hasn't gotten a hit yet in the series.
He's grumbling. A ball and 2 strikes to Gamble. Jackson at second base. No score. Yankees second. And goes even at 2-2. While Vukovich and Simmons were having a chat, Gorman Thomas and Paul Molitor were having a very quick chat in right field. It was Thomas running all the way over to right to talk to Paul Molitor. 6'4", 220 pounds. Pete Vukovich. Got him on a good breaking pitch.
He really did. Down low, too, but inside.
A good slider. This is the 3 straight pitches now that he's thrown. Sliders. The one was a wild pitch. He missed the other inside, and here he comes back as Gamble strikes out. That's a big out, Howard, because the Yankees cannot advance Jackson. Second strikeout for Vukovich. Here's Nettles. You see 244 on the year, 15 home runs, 46 RBIs, but he's taken a collar so far in the series. He is 0 for 11. But it was his glove that they say saved the first game for the New York Yankees at County Stadium, Milwaukee.
It was sensational stab on a shot by Simmons.
Foul away left side, upper deck.
Ginger Nettles, Greg Nettles' wife.
These ball clubs played 6 times during the abbreviated season in 1981, and they split. The Yankees 2-1 here, and the Brewers 2-1 at County Stadium, Milwaukee. Reggie thought a little bit and said, nope, not going to go anywhere. First of all, he couldn't see it.
If necessary, game 5 tomorrow. And the likelihood that it would be, if necessary, Musaz against Ron Gidrick.
Well, that's what they were saying in Philadelphia. If necessary, if necessary, if necessary.
And it has become necessary.
Yes, it has. The Fightin' Phils have bounced back. Tied Montreal 2 games apiece. Breaking pitch a little low.
Interesting team. There's Raleigh Fingers. Question, if necessary, can he go today? Consecutive days effectively. He thinks so. He's ready.
He has not gone on consecutive days since 1977, pitching as many innings as he did last night.
That's right. But this is a time of urgency.
That's exactly right. Missing low, and the count goes 3-1 to Reynolds. I should say to Nettles. At second base is Reggie Jackson. Reggie singled and advanced to second on the wild pitch. Oscar Gamble struck out, and a 3-1 count to Greg Nettles. The change, he took a little off. There's Watson in the on-deck circle, and you can see Bob just shaking his head saying, you don't like to see that. You like to see guys when they get behind. It is.
Well, Watson has been a hot ball player at the plate in this series.
Misses low, and Nettles draws a walk. Now with runners at first and second, Bob Watson indeed will come on. 5 hits and 9 at-bats in the series. There's a season average of 212.
Knocked in the first Yankee run last night. Another surprise starter by Lem in the first game. No way to get him out now the way he's been hitting.
You wouldn't think so. That's where we stand. No score. 1 out, 2 on. Yankee second. 90 miles an hour clocked on that last pitch by Vukovich.
But he tied him up. It was location, as you so often emphasize. Tied him up on the inside there.
Good breaking pitch. 0-2.
Moving that ball around, as you viewers can see.
Now you know, Howard, why Vukovich was the man on the most wanted list by the Milwaukee Brewers in the winter meetings. They said, we want this guy. It took a big deal to get him, but they got him, along with Fingers and Simmons. It's a good trade, I think, for both clubs, as we talked about.
Well, Loscano, when he works at it, he can be great. Problem with Loscano is vacillation of moods.
0-2 to Watson.
Applaud you with that.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Jackson at second, and Nettles at first. I guess the key man in that whole deal was young David Green. There's another angle of Mr. Vukovich as he drops from the side a little bit and evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I got a kick out of the way umpire Phillips looked up at Watson as Watson looked back at him. He didn't go far enough with the swing. He did with that one.
Now Watson strikes out. As you look at it again, that big 6'4" frame coming at you, took a little bit off and turned it over. Well, what an asset to have an assortment of pitches and be able to get them over. Here's Larry Milbourne with Jackson remaining at second. As you see, Nettles at first. There's now 2 outs in the Yankee second. Milbourne 2 for 11 in the series. The right field, and well, Molitor's there, makes the catch, and the Yankees are gone. No runs on a hit. They leave 2, and after 2 complete, the Brewers nothing, the Yankees nothing.
Here is the blow that kept the Phillies alive.
Well, you saw the home run by George Vukovich. I mentioned at the top of the show, John, but I stand corrected on that as we go here from Yankee Stadium. In the top of the 3rd, it'll be Roy, Howell, Sal Bando, Jimmy Gantner, the bottom 3 in the Brewer order to face Russell. Hall, the designated hitter.
Little pop gone.
Yes, sir.
Comfortably ensconced.
Brought it from the outside in. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Winfield really glaring in from that left field sun position. Got him. Howell strikes out. First strikeout for Russell on the afternoon. There's Winfield out there. Boy, that is tough.
Number 6, Sal Bando.
A tough sun field this time of year at Yankee Stadium. You know, and Howard, as the summer progresses and fall gets here, it becomes a tougher and tougher field to play. Here's Bando.
At the moment, Russell is working beautifully. Quickly, unerringly. Look at that. Got a little groove there in the corner.
He's got himself a groove. Is right 0-2 to Bando. Sal 5 hits and 12 at bats with an RBI in the series and doesn't get the curveball. Just moves it outside a little further.
He really had him chasing.
8 in a row retired by Russell. He just starts it out a little further.
Jim Gantner, second base.
Here's Jimmy Gantner, the second baseman. 2 hits and 11 at bats as Nettles and Russell will have a little talk at the mound. Gantner on the year, 267, a couple of home runs and 33 RBIs. Watson goes right to the bag, and the Brewers are retired 1-2-3 in the 3rd inning of play. Watson made that look easy, and then all he had to do was just reach out and put his foot on the bag. Good play by Bob. So the Brewers are gone in the top of the 3rd. To the bottom of the 3rd, the Brewers and the Yankees, no score.
Well, the top-rated teams, let's look at current scores. USC 7-0 at the moment. Penn State 38-7 final over BC. Texas routed Oklahoma. Pittsburgh beat a tough West Virginia team. And North Carolina still rolling even without Bryant, 48-10. Michigan 38-20 over State. Alabama 13-10 over Southern Mississippi, surprisingly close. And Brigham Young and Nevada, Las Vegas tied. I wonder if McMahon's back. Clemson 27-0 over Virginia. And
the 1-0 pitch to Rick Cerrone, and the count evens up at 2-2. Check that 1-1. Rick Cerrone, he is 3 for 11 in the series with 3 RBIs. 1-2 the count.
He's been meeting the ball much better than that average 3 for 11 suggests.
He has indeed, Howard, and I think the thing that's really helped Rick Cerrone, he's starting to use the whole ballpark to hit him. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I remember when he was up at Toronto, you'd find himself pulling the ball quite a bit. Well, there's a young Yankee fan. Time call as Vukovich wants to pitch in a hurry, and Cerrone not ready.
He caught George in Toronto, you'll recollect. Yesterday's hero, Randy Lurch, came from nowhere, allowed but 3 hits, 6 innings, contained the Yankees to 1 run, kept his club in the ball game, did his job.
Foul back. Well, that's true. These two were battery mates, Vukovich and Cerrone at Toronto. But I think Rick has come over here and been able to let the big guys do their job. And he just kind of learned the art of hitting. Pops him a foul out of play. Count remains full of 3 balls and 2 strikes. And you can kind of get that look. There you'll be tomorrow night, Coach.
That's right. Not tomorrow night, Monday night.
I say Monday night, right?
Big game. Dolphins against the Bills. And the Bills still burned up at the coaching philosophy that enabled the Dolphins, the Jets coaching philosophy, that enabled the Dolphins to tie the Jets 28-28.
Count remains full, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Now, Florida State 19, Notre Dame 13. Earlier I had said and I was waiting for that score. There it is. Florida State, which beat Ohio State.
And Cerrone hanging tough. And remains full at 3 balls and 2 strikes.
How do you like the Badgers of Wisconsin? If they can sustain that, they may be Rose Bowl bound. Shades of Vanderkamp.
Pop foul, left field side. Ogilvie over and Yount. They take a peek, but that's well back into the seats. We're looking at Pete Vukovich. Vukovich, really a tough competitor. And his former teammate making him battle.
He really is. Oh, Southern Mississippi stays unbeaten, and the Big Bear having some big troubles in this very historic year for him. If he can annex the needed number of victories to pass.
Well, there's a case.
Become the winningest coach.
Howard, right here where Simmons is getting on the home plate umpire Dave Phillips a little bit. Now the rule states that you're not supposed to step out when that pitcher starts his motion, and umpires many times will give the hitter the time, but that ball is hit to Ogilvie. Sunglasses down for the catch, and that is out number 1.
That ball left the bat with a better ring than it really had. It didn't have the carry that the crowd instantly thought it did.
Now there's 1 gone, and that will bring on the leadoff hitter, Willie Randolph. He bounced to short his first time at bat. He's 0 for 1. Foul away. 1 ball and 1 strike. No score. We're in the bottom of the 3rd. Game number 4. The Yankees leading in the series 2-1, looking for the victory to wrap it up this afternoon. The Brewers, of course, have to win to stay alive. Two balls and a strike. Rushill sitting between Lemon and Cerrone. 3-1 the count. For a guy that's been as sick as what this man has been right here, Pete Vukovich, I think he's throwing exceptionally well, Howard.
So far.
Watch him. The Yankees put a man aboard with 1 out as Mumphrey comes on, and this program is being brought to you as an exclusive presentation of ABC Sports. Now let's pause 5 seconds to allow our local stations to identify themselves.
Channel 12, WISN TV, Milwaukee.
Mumphrey bounced to short his first time at bat. Randolph, you see, the lead at first with Cooper holding. 1-0 the count. That's not bad right there.
No, talked to him before the game. He looked forward to going against George because of that very success.
To left center field and hit well. Ogilvie out in Death Valley runs it down, tagging is Randolph, and head down to second base. He will make it. Base running by Willie Randolph.
McClure warming up. Obviously, Buck Rogers saying something or sensing something. Yet, Vukovich has given up just the left field single to Jackson and 2 walks. 1 to Nettles last inning and the 1 to Randolph this inning.
Here's Dave Winfield. Struck out his first time at bat, so that 500 mark comes down, you see, to 462. but a tough man anytime he stands at the plate. I love to watch that look in his face just before he steps in all the time. He's, first of all, he looks around, he looks at his defensive alignment, and then he picks up that pitcher. 0-1 the count.
Tell you, Mumphrey got good wood on that. That would have been out of there at Milwaukee County Stadium.
I've got to agree with you. That ball carried well to left. A very slight breeze, not much of a breeze at all. You see the flags high atop kind of blowing just a little to right. One ball and one strike to Winfield. Ogilvy, he is very deep in left field. Thomas in center field straight away, also deep. There you see Ogilvy. Thomas way out there in the pasture, and Molitor in right. Up the middle, and he saves a run. Vukovich throws Winfield out, and the Yankees are gone into third. They leave him in, but after 3, it's the Brewers nothing and the Yankees nothing. For the Brewers, in the first 3 innings, 9 men up, 9 men down, and they will start it again.
Somewhere along the way, we're about to say, last play of the last half inning. Look at it again.
That ball hit hard.
Yep. Randall on second would have scored, but Vukovich, self, an excellent fielder. But Molitor looking to bunt somewhere along the way. Gregg moving in on him now.
1 ball and 1 strike. Well, Russell might be a little easier to bunt than some of those flamethrowers that the Yankees have run out there in the past. Well to left, hooking to the line. It is foul. Home run depth, but foul. He hung a curve.
A little fella is something.
Rick Russell, of course, one of the brother acts with the Chicago Cubs, along with brother Paul a few years back. The count goes even at 2-2. Russell lifetime has won 133 ball games. And Howard, that is not bad whatsoever when you think about some
pitching
of those
for the Cubs.
That's right. Some of those clubs that he was working with. 133 and 125. Count goes full at 3-2 to Molitor, and also pitching in the friendly confines, in the words of Mr. Ernie Banks, Wrigley Field, Chicago.
Molitor's battling Russell right now. He's a tough hitter.
Right out of the University of Minnesota, and you knew that he was going to be around for a while. Up the middle, and over Russell, on into center field, a base hit. Now Mumphrey will get it back in as the Brewers have their first hit of the ball game. A base hit up the middle by Molitor.
So he battled and battled Russell. Finally got a pitch that he could meet.
The shortstop,
And it had
Robin
odds.
Young.
That took a funny hop on that second bounce out there by the grass at second base as Robin Yount standing a pitch out, and no, a quick move by Molitor at first, and he saves it out. There is a heads-up play. Now watch how quickly he sees what's going to happen. Whoop!
He caught the pitch out. Instant reflexes. By itself as good an evidence of as you'd want of his athletic ability.
There's
Running
the hit
again.
and run again, and they go on to third. Molitor, as Winfield gets it back in a hurry. He can't hold it. Yount with a wide turn at first, and all of a sudden the Brewers have runners at first and third, and nobody out in the 4th inning.
You have to expect this from the Brewers. They have an explosive quality about them. Earlier I said the Yankees don't like to talk about it, but their problem has been at the plate all year long, woefully inconsistent. They can't remember the last time, for instance, they scored off Scott McGregor. And that's exactly what they're facing here. They've played 30 innings. Only in 2 of those innings have the Yankees scored more than 1 run. I'm not saying that Milwaukee has peppered the ballpark, but last night Milwaukee gave evidence of how quickly explosive they can be.
And Cecil Cooper stands in. Takes the first pitch outside. He bounced back to the pitcher. Russell his first time at bat. There's our story from Yankee Stadium. No score, but the Brewers threaten in the 4th. Missing outside, and the count goes to 2-0.
That's Cease's wife, Octavia.
To left field, this will score the run. Tagging is Molitor, tagging is Yount. The catch and the throw to second base, and the great arm of Winfield holds Yount at first. But Molitor scores. It's 1-0 Milwaukee.
The pitcher,
The value of a man like Molitor, a perfect catalyst for a ball club, able to get on base, a great base runner.
Well, it was his instinct, Howard, when he picked up the pitch out that has put the Brewers on top right now as Ted Simmons stands in.
The reflexes of an extraordinary athlete.
Pops Simmons up. Straight away center field. That is Mumphrey. And out number 2. Yount has to hold it first.
Yankee bullpen at work. George Frazier and LaRoche.
Ben Ogilvy.
They call him Benji. And he is overdue, to say the least.
To say the least. And it's Reuschel's task to keep his club close, even as Lurch did it yesterday. That is his whole job.
Ogilvy flying to center his first time at bat. He's 0 for 1.
Getting back to Molitor. Don, he even small as he is, he even played basketball with Dave Winfield at Minnesota.
Ogilvy takes that first pitch outside, 1-0. Well, there's the Mutt and Jeff of it right there with those 2. But you're talking about, I'll tell you, the Golden Gophers, they have got 2 exceptional athletes in the major leagues. 2 balls and no strikes.
Winfield's throw to second on the Cooper fly changed Yount's mind in a hurry.
Oh. Hard to right field in the corner. Jackson will have to run it down. Yount with 2 outs going and 6 to the wall. They're going to wave Yount around. The relay to Randolph. The throw to the plate, not in time. Yount scores on the double by Ogilvy. It is 2-0 Milwaukee.
And was overdue. We emphasize that. More than that, how quick Yount was. Now you're seeing the capacities of this Milwaukee team. You've got Molitor and Yount back to back. You've got great runners. Watch on this replay how the ball stays in that corner. And Reggie has to go over to it. It does not carry him. It goes dead. Reggie must go to it. Quickly he does. But against the speed of Yount, they couldn't get the relay in time. So the diverse skills of the Brewers come into evidence in this, the 4th inning.
As they lead it 2-0, Ogilvy at second base and Gorman Thomas stands in. 0-1 the count. I've got to say one thing, Howard. Had the throw to the plate not been up the first base line and off into foul territory, they had a definite play on Yount.
They had a chance.
Yes, sir.
But that kid was in like Wantarina.
Could not hold up. 0-2 the count. There you see Yogi down down in the Yankee dugout. Yogi Berra possibly checking with the bullpen, finding out who's ready and who isn't. It appears that the right-hander Frazier is. The left-hander LaRoche continues to throw. After the Brewers went down 1-2-3 in the first 3 innings, they have 2 runs on 3 hits here in the 4th and lead it 2-0. 1-2.
Happiest man in baseball right now is Ben Ogle.
He jumped up and down when he saw the safe call at home. He jumped up and down at second base. That's his first base knock of this series. But a big one. 2-2 the count.
You talked about somebody lighting a fuse in the Milwaukee dugout last night. Ted Simmons did. Somebody's going to have to do that for the Yankees if they're to get back into this thing.
Check swing foul. Count remains 2-2. 2 outs, 2 runs in, and Ogilvie at the top of your screen at second base, and the Brewers lead it 2-0. Little cloud cover over as you look at the Milwaukee dugout. The Brewers have been in a state of dilemma at their hotel in New York. Every day they come to the ballpark, they check out, leave the bags in the lobby, and then have to recheck back in.
They're not averse to that.
Line to left, it'll be foul.
They just want to do it one more day.
That's exactly right.
After that, no problem.
The Yankees trying to send the baggage truck over and take it all away. But the Brewers hanging tough. On top 2-0. We're in the top of the 4th. Gone, but they pick up 2 runs on 3 hits, and after 3.5, Milwaukee 2, the New York Yankees nothing. Reggie Jackson to lead it off for the Yankees in the bottom half of the 4th inning. It'll be Jackson, Gamble, and Nettles, the middle 3, all 3 left-handers against Pete Vukovich, who goes to the bottom of the 4th with a 2-0 lead. Jackson singled to left his first time at bat, the only Yankee hit of the afternoon so far. Dave Phillips said, wait a minute, give me some time. I don't have my mask on yet. 1-0 to Reggie. Speed pitch, and Jackson out in front. Count evens, a ball and a strike.
It's his change of speed that's so enormously effective, especially against a team of free swingers like this one.
That will give that kind of a team fits, and especially the free swingers, as you say, Howard. It's hard for them to cope with it. He bounced up on that one a little bit. That's what you call fire and fall back. 2-1. To left field, Ogilvie pounds the glove. And that is out number 1, and it will bring on Oscar Gamble. This telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball is prohibited. Here's Gamble. Struck out his first time at bat. 1-0. 2-0. Vukovich, one of the few pitchers that you'll see in the major leagues today that does not throw between starts. He plays long toss in the outfield and likes to stretch his arm out. This is outside, 3-0.
You mentioned he struck out the prior time up. Very important strikeout. Jackson had singled, gone to second on a wild pitch.
There's the strike. You see how he comes over the top more, Howard, on that pitch, and he'll just kind of cut it out there on that outside part of the plate. Missing inside. Gamble with a walk, and here comes Nettles.
Now, it'll be interesting to watch the Milwaukee bullpen. For whatever reason, when Randolph was walked last inning, and that's the third walk given up by George, McClure started to work in the Milwaukee bullpen. No, it's quiet at the moment.
It could have been a little recourse from the second inning, Howard, when the Yankees left a couple men aboard, a single and a walk, but then he got the next 2 men out. 1-0 to Nettles.
Now, even as Ogilvy was due, this man is. He came into the playoffs with hitting momentum. He had an apparently hot bat. Suddenly, it's been stifled.
He walked his first time at bat. Greg Nettles. Ooh.
He likes it up there. That was his pitch.
And took a little bit off. The count even 1-1. With Oscar Gamble at first base and the left-hand hitting Nettles at bat, Cecil Cooper plays behind Gamble. Let's see Coop right in behind him. Two and one. That is Bob Watson on deck. Thomas is there. Now Nettles flies out to Gorman Thomas. Gamble remains at first base. There's 2 gone, and Bob Watson comes on. You might see somebody with a little better speed, Howard, as deep as that ball was.
Should have. I would have gone, held up, and tagged up and gone even with Gamble.
The reason you might think about that, because you think of the bad hand that Gorman Thomas has. That's why he was not in the lineup last night.
Now McClure is warming up again. Action in the bullpen, and so is Dwight Bernard, the one-time Met.
A right-hander and a left-hander up in the Brewer bullpen.
And if game number 5 is necessary, remember, we'll be bringing it to you 7 o'clock Eastern Time, 6 Central, 4 Pacific. We already know that there'll be game number 5 between the Phils and Montreal. He doesn't appear to be very well. Coughing. So far, he's given a sterling performance.
Looks like his eyes are tearing just a little bit.
Yep.
This guy had 103-degree temperature the other day, and he's out there in short sleeves today. Watson struck out his first time at bat. Takes the strike, 0-1.
Pitched Watson beautifully. Moved the ball around. Outside, inside, down, up. Changes of speeds. The whole repertoire.
You see Cooper still in behind Gamble. Well, you got to give him credit. He's struggling a little out there right now. A lot of eyes on him in that Milwaukee dugout. Off the end of the bat to Gantner. Goes to Cooper, and the Yankees are retired. In the 4th inning, they leave a man, and after 4 complete, it remains Milwaukee 2, New York nothing. Roy Howell leads off the Milwaukee 5th. Curveball missing inside, 1-0. Howell struck out his first time at bat. Roy 0 for 1. To the hole, and base hit right field. Howell with a turn as Jackson gets it back in.
3 of the 4 hits against Reichel have been ground balls with eyes.
This is eyes. This is really eyes here. Just outside of the reach of Watson, outside of the grasp of Willie Randolph, who puts on a fine effort.
Third baseman.
You see Howell saying, putting his hands up, he says, give it to me again. I want to see the sign again. Sal Bando stands in. He struck out his first time at bat. Action again in the Yankee bullpen. Pitch out, and this time Howe cannot hold back.
Maybe the Yankees are reading their signs.
Well, they've got to know something.
Cerrone's calling those pitch outs.
You see Milburn right there. He just waits for Roy Howell to come into the glove. So the leadoff single as of now for Knott. Rusho starting from the stretch, and now he catches himself and backs off. 1 ball and no strikes to Bando. Randolph on a hop. To Watson. 2 gone. You know, that's the 3rd time in this series that the Yankees have pitched out on the first pitch in a definite hit-and-run situation, and every time they've been right. The only thing that saved Milwaukee was back in the 4th inning when Molitor was able to catch himself and get back to the bag.
Brilliant athletic reflex. We discussed that. Incidentally, Lemon Tommy John burned up. John felt that the Brewers were getting the Yankees signed. Cerrone said nobody could hit home runs against me the way the Brewers did last night. Simmons and John, they knew what I was going to throw. And indeed,
Right to right, not hit that well. Jackson to the line, and does he make the catch? Yes, he does.
He is really playing out there.
A fine catch by Reggie Jackson. As you look at it again, he goes to the line, and now it's going right to the wall. There's the catch. That's as tough a catch as you want to see. Good catch by Reggie. To the bottom of the 5th inning, it remains 2-0 Milwaukee. In the Milwaukee bullpen, the right-hander is Dwight Bernard. The left-hander now, Jamie Easterly. As Pete Vukovich goes to the bottom of the 5th inning, the Brewers a 2-0 lead. It'll be Milbourne, Cerrone, the top of the order, Randolph.
Wonder how many of the Yankees might be thinking right now about Plan A and Plan B.
That's right. And if I remember last night, Rick Cerrone told you there was even a Plan C in there. Milbourne line to right, his first time at bat.
In this game, when you win, you're a winner. When you lose, you're a loser, even if it's only 1 game.
Count evens at 1-1.
Leaned over, followed that right down. Right through the strike zone.
Vukovich has thrown 79 pitches thus far. 2-1 to count. You've got to know that Bob Rogers is saying, big guy, let me know if you're hurting.
Monday night, we've got another big one. The Dolphins at 4-0-1. The Bills at 3-2, thirsting to get back in there.
Off of the side of the mound, a tricky hop high, and they just do get him.
The ball almost went up his sleeve.
That ball came off the side of the mound funny and changed the spin of the ball. As you see it come up. Yes, sir. But that good, strong arm of Yount. And they close play at first.
Very close.
1 out to Rick Cerrone, who flying to left his first time at bat. 1-0 the count.
A guy as sick as Vukovich. What a job.
Hop to Bando. Low, but Cooper, who's got a good glove at first base, digs it out.
Second baseman, Willie Randolph.
Here's a man who's underrated with that piece of leather, Howard.
Cease, a fine all-around ball player. Zip Zimmer once came up to Cease when Milwaukee came into Fenway to visit the Red Sox and said, Coop, I got to admit it, I made a terrible mistake.
1-0 to Willie Randolph, 2 outs in the Yankee 5th. Of course, that time it was the trade from the Boston Red Sox to the Milwaukee Brewers. pitch, still mixing his pitches nicely. Randolph has bounced to short. He is walked. He's 0 for 1. 2-1 the count. Took a little bit off of the breaking pitch, and Randolph out in front as the count evens at 2-2.
Vukovich is now up in the 80s in pitches thrown, but it doesn't take an FDR brain trust to decipher what he's doing, as Don has pointed out. Changing speeds right there, getting Randolph to chase. He's doing some job.
Through 5, it's 2-0 Milwaukee. We'll be back with more baseball after this word from our local station. Paul Molitor will lead off the Milwaukee 6th inning. The Brewers on top 2-0. Takes the first pitch inside. 1 ball and no strikes. Molitor has bounced to third. He singled and scored the first run of the ball game.
This kid's growing up as a hitter. He used to chase the first pitch every time, remember?
Yes, he did. The count goes to 2-1. Nettles has to draw in at third. Molitor always a threat to bunt. Watson even shortened up at first. And the count goes to 3-1.
This is the guy you've got to keep off the bases. The way the Yankee opposition has to keep Randolph off and used to have to keep Mickey Rivers off. He catalyzes the ball club.
Along with the man right behind him, Robin Yount. Takes a strike as he takes Russell right to the wall. 3-2. He's going to take all away.
Now he'll battle him.
Hard to Milbourne. A good play. High, and they just do get him. That ball hit hard, but right at Milbourne. He got in a position where he had to stay with it regardless.
Give this to that kid Milbourne. Donnie's been steady as a rock. Done everything they could have asked him to do.
1 out to Robin Yount. Good ball, a little high. I think Cerrone and Russell both wanted that. Robin, you see, 1 for 2. He has scored the second Milwaukee run. Again, it is LaRoche and Frazier throwing in the bullpen. 2-0 the count. Cecil Cooper on deck. Hopper foul over the Milwaukee dugout. 2 balls and 1 strike to Yount. There's 1 out, and the Brewers 6. They lead it 2-0. Game number 4. About bunting, takes the curveball outside. Nettles is playing deep on him, and Yount will drop 1 down. I think he swung at ball 4.
More scores. USC up to 10-0 over Arizona, 2nd quarter. Brigham Young assuming command at halftime over Nevada last night. Uh-oh. Another blow for Coach Faust. There's the final. Jim Lampley had given it to you earlier. Wisconsin beats the Buckeyes of Ohio State.
And Robin Yount draws a base on balls, and that will bring on Cecil Cooper.
What a year for the Badgers.
Cecil Cooper.
The Buckeyes. Well, happy anniversary to a famous Buckeye family, Jesse and Harold Zig of Columbus, Ohio. They're Ohio State frontliners, and they dreamed of a Wisconsin defeat today, but it was not to be. The Wisconsin coach, by the way, Dave McLean, and what a job he's doing.
Cecil Cooper is 0 for 1 with a sacrifice fly. To Randolph, he boots the ball, but in time to get Cooper. The second base is Yount.
Cost him a force.
fastball really not hit that hard, hit off the end of the bat.
Still had the force. Look at that.
It just came up on him. You're exactly right, Howard. And now the Brewers with a runner in scoring position. As they throw Cooper out, they have to get the one. You can see the facial expression of Willie Randolph. He is not too happy.
That's why before this series started, we gave Willie a slight edge over Gantt. Championship Series play. Has not committed an error in 28 postseason games.
Ted Simmons is 0 for 2, flying to right and flying to center. Look at that, Howard.
Look at that. The Boilermakers. Good pitch. Tailed away. Well, Nebraska, a big comeback. And Chuck Fairbanks, why, oh, why did I ever leave the Patriots? Texas A&M with a victory.
Watson to Russell covering, and Simmons and the Brewers retired in the 6th inning. As we go to the bottom of the 6th, it remains 2-0, Milwaukee. Jerry Mumphrey to lead it off. He is 0 for 2. The Yankee fans come alive as they try to wake up the New York Yankees. Mumphrey has bounced to short and fly deep to left. Stir him up even more as that first pitch goes to the backstop. 1-0 to Mumphrey.
Action continuing in the Milwaukee bullpen. The Yankees with just a left field single by Reggie Jackson. And that
now the Yankees put the leadoff man aboard as Cooper cannot find the handle. It was hit hard, but Coop got a little bit of an in-between hop, had it roll right between the wickets. You see Gantner saying, get back to the bag or Vuk, come on.
ruled an error, which it should be.
There's Bob Rogers out talking to Vukovich in the bullpen. That is Jamie Easterly, hands in the pocket with a coat on. Larry Haney, Milwaukee coach. Now Dave Winfield will stand in. The first error of the ball game drawn by the Brewers. Dave Winfield has struck out, and he hit a shot back to the mound with a runner in scoring position. Randolph in the third, who was knocked down by Vukovich to throw him out to end the inning.
The game is curiously of a pattern with the previous three games. Tension building into the late innings.
The Yankee fans come alive as they try and get their locals on the board. They're down 2-0. A shot fair down in the corner. Extra bases. Ogilvie plays the carom. Gets it back into Yount. Stopping at third is Mumphrey. To second is Winfield. A stand-up double.
Was that a shot? He got arm extension just the way he likes it. Charlie Lau, the batting coach, likes it. He shot it. Rogers to the mound. Look at it again. Out there where he had full room. See that?
He hit a rocket by Bando, who had no chance whatsoever. That'll be all. So we have a pitching change at Yankee Stadium in the bottom of the sixth. The Yankees threaten. It's 2-0, Milwaukee.
Fight.
Jamie Easterly on in relief of the starter Pete Vukovich, making his 45th appearance of the year. 3-3 on the year with 4 saves. You see the ERA of 3.19. And the left-hander will face Reggie Jackson with the tying runs in scoring position. What an effort, Howard.
Oh, what a gallant performance by Pete Vukovich. You saw him in an earlier inning. It was the 4th inning when he was almost throwing up, fighting with himself, wanting to stay in there. And that's when McClure began warming up. But he gave it everything he had through 5 innings.
Now they have a little talk at the mound. That's our story from Yankee Stadium, but the Yankees trying to get back in it. They have the tying runs aboard. They have Mumphrey at third and Winfield at second. Nobody out, bottom of the sixth.
But as we've noted, these teams play 6-inning games, and the Yankees have yet to score, even though they're in a very threatening position right now. Because Gossage and Davis are ready today. There you run a second.
Mumphrey at third and Winfield at second. And Jackson stands in 1 for 2 today. One ball and no strikes. Easterly, his first year with Milwaukee, traded from the Montreal Expos.
When Jackson is hitting, he can hit lefties. He got his homer against Caldwell in this series.
2-0 the count. Easterly, you can see he led the American Leagues in innings pitched without yielding the home run. They say he gets left-handers out. He's behind Jackson 2-0. Got a pretty good fastball, a good hard slider swerve. And it's 3-0. He's a 5'10", 180-pounder, now makes his home in Crockett, Texas.
Campbell on deck. At the expectancy, Lou Piniella.
And no strikes. There's the strike, and it goes to 3-1.
Thought he might give him the green light on that.
Well, he might have just thought that the way the first 3 pitches were hard, that he's liable to walking too. He's a little erratic. Jackson, a weak swing at ball 4, and the count goes full at 3-2.
No question, it was ball 4. He jammed him. That's where they like to pitch, Reggie. High and tight. It was ball 4.
It was that. And now the count is full, 3-2. Struck him out.
Breaking pitch, fooled him. So Easterly comes from 3-0.
Your attention, please. Ladies and gentlemen, batting.
Lou Piniella. Those aren't boos in the background. They're for Lou, as Lou Piniella steps in. Well, that knocks that cross off one designated hitter, and now you put in designated hitter number 2, Lou Piniella.
And let's see if they put him on to load the bases. Jackson disgusted with himself. He knows he had a walk in the bag.
Oh, he is sick. He is absolutely sick. He swung at an off-speed pitch inside that he had no chance at.
Look at him.
Now here's Piniella. They have first base open. Mumphrey remains at third. Dave Winfield, the tying run, remains at second. And I would have to think that they would pitch Mr. Piniella off the curve. Foul right side, 0-1.
Interesting, isn't it?
Lou, 1 hit and 7 at-bats in this series, but that was a home run in County Stadium, Milwaukee. As you see Bob Rogers pacing the floor, Slayton and McClure throwing in the Milwaukee bullpen with Davis and Frazier right behind him in the Yankee bullpen. Slayton, the right-hander, and McClure, the left-hander. Chopper, this will get a run, and they go to Winfield. Dave makes a Cardinals mistake as Bando runs him down. he scores. It's a 2-1 ball game on the bouncer by Piniella. Now here goes Dave on that high chopper, and I think he gets about halfway hard and realizes, why in the world did I ever do this?
Takes a man out of scoring position. Probably kills what still might have been a much more productive inning.
See Bando running him down, and he just did get a tag on him, Howard. They almost ran him right back to the bag.
If he weren't so long, maybe they wouldn't have.
That's right. If he'd have been 5'6" instead of 6'6", they'd have never got him. Here's Greg Nettles with Piniella at first. To center field, and an easy fly ball for Gorman Thomas. Out number 3, the Yankees settle for a run on a hit and air, and they leave 1 through 6, 2-1, Milwaukee. The story from Yankee Stadium, Game 4. The Brewers and the Yankees, a new Yankee pitcher, Ron Davis.
But that's not the full story. The Yankees, once reputed to be a team that never makes mistakes, had an inning in the bottom of the 6th riddled with mistakes. First, Jackson obviously pursuing, and weakly, as you described it, a 4th ball. USC 10-0, second quarter over Arizona. Penn State 38-7 over Boston College. Watch the scores, 34-14. And then Winfield trying to go on a ball hit in front of him from second to third. Dave knows much better than that. But they don't play this game on paper and on ifs. And the Yankees made the mistakes.
Now Ron Davis coming on to take over for Russell, who pitched well. He allowed 2 runs on 4 hits. And he did a fine job. He held them right there, and all of a sudden they go to Heat Incorporated, and Mr. Davis followed by Mr. Gossage. For Davis, he is making his 3rd appearance of the series.
Hey, didn't mean to interrupt.
That's all right.
But what a game Holy Cross gave Yale. Brown, too. Pennsylvania giving them a tough one.
I can't talk, you did scare me.
Jet 40 just plunged to the floor of the truck. Columbia losing to Princeton. Tennessee, Johnny Majors coming up to beat Curry and Georgia Tech. Interesting set of scores. Coach Faust finding out how tough it is.
Here's Ben Ogilvie. Right now, it's been the double by Ogilvie, the difference in the ball game. To drive in Robin Yount in the Brewer 4th when they scored their 2 runs. Ooh. He did not get cheated. Davis 1-0 in this series thus far. He's worked in 3 innings, allowed a hit. He struck out 4, walked 2. Pop foul. Ogilvie, I mentioned the double. To go along with that, he has flied to center, so he's 1 for 2. 2-1 Milwaukee, top of the 7th. A must-win for Milwaukee. The Yankees on top, 2 games to 1. 1 ball and 2 strikes. There it is. 2-1 Milwaukee, 4 hits to 2 for the Yankees. Hard to Watson, bobbles. Underhands to Davis in time. 1 gone.
The center fielder.
That will bring on Gorman Thomas. Gorman has bounced to 3rd and struck out 0 for 2. In the series, that moves Gorman to 1 for 12. But as we mentioned before, he has been playing hurt. Fouled right straight back and below us. 0-1 the count. He hurt his throwing hand trying to make a diving catch. There's the youngster of Ron Davis and his wife, Millie Davis. Pops him up, foul. Cerrone coming back, might have a play. and just cannot reach it. He made a great effort.
He may have hurt a rib there, or the rib cage.
Watch this. This is just out of his reach, Howard.
And watch where he lands on that. Watch this. See that?
They're covering up.
Here's one Yankee who has had a fine series. Brilliant behind the plate. As we said, hitting the ball better than the average shows.
1 ball and 2 strikes. We mentioned Heat Incorporated coming in. That last pitch, 93 miles an hour. Two and two the count. Last night, I mentioned at the top of the show, Harvey Keene, the hitting instructor of the Brewers, kind of tongue-in-cheek and kidding about the first 4 pitchers that the Yankees or the Brewers had seen as Thomas strikes out a weak swing. That is the 7th time that Thomas has struck out in this series. Out there, Gorman, no chance. NC, no chance. Here is Roy Howell. He has struck out and singled 1 for 2.
And was out stealing. Out in the hit and run.
That's it. And the pitch out. Foul away 0-1. But I was telling you about Harvey Keene. He was saying it's something when you have to look at Ron Guidry and think that he's the soft tosser that we've seen so far. And of course, talking about the fine pitching of Dave Righetti, who's well up into the 90s. Gossage well up into the 90s. The gentleman you're looking at right now in the 90s. 1 ball and 1 strike. Of course, Guidry will get it right at 90. Pops him up. Milbourne says he'll try. And the Brewers are gone. 1-2-3 in the 7th inning to the bottom of the 7th. It's 2-1 Milwaukee. For the Milwaukee Brewers, as Jim Slayton comes on, the 3rd pitcher employed this afternoon by manager Bob Rogers. There's his record on the year, 5-7, making now his 25th appearance. This is his 3rd appearance in the series. He's worked 3 innings, allowed a hit. He struck out 1. And he will start it off with Bob Watson, Larry Milbourne, and Rick Cerrone.
He was very successful in those 3 innings. He only has a failure. There's Raleigh Fingers just sitting in the bullpen, watching and waiting.
First baseman.
But essentially, although he has a fairly good fastball, Slayton's a finesse pitcher. And I just wonder if second time around he can enjoy the same success.
We will soon see as Watson, who is 0 for 2, stands in. 2-1 Milwaukee in the bottom of the 7th. The center field not hit that well, dropping for a base hit. Now Watson hit it off the end of the bat, but strong enough to hit it into shallow center field for the base hit, so the tying run is aboard.
You talk about a revealing statistic. 39 out of 39. Only team in the major leagues without any such victories. But there is a good move by Lim. Bobby Brown running for Watson.
Bobby Brown.
He's a speedster, a superb base runner.
Now Brown carrying the tying run at first base as Larry Milbourne will stand in. And right now, Sal Bando saying something and yelling in to Slayton, be alive for the bunt. He's yelling over to Cecil Cooper.
Larry Milbourne.
Larry Milbourne, 0 for 2 today. And just foul. Bando was shaking hands with Milbourne. He came in, he was standing about 15 feet away from him. And now Milbourne looks down at Joe Altobelli to say, well, wait a minute now, we can't have that. And Altobelli saying, come here, I want to talk to you.
And so he does.
Milbourne is an excellent bunter, Howard. Matter of fact, at Seattle, he set a team record with 15 sacrifice bunts last year. 2-1 Milwaukee, bottom of the 7th.
Things do get stirring between these teams in the late innings.
Well, it's been a great series so far. Here comes Bando. Stop, start. Now they take it off. Ground ball to Yauch. He goes to Gantner to first, not in time. As Brown takes out Gantner. Boy, he got him good. And Bob Rogers coming out to take a look at him. Take a look at Brown going into second base. Here's where the second basemen are in no man's land. They've got to look at the ball. They can't see the runner. Look at that left knee buckle.
It was a clean slide. It's exactly why I commented, and Milbourne just in. Just why I commented that Lim had made a very wise and necessary move in putting Brown in as a pinch runner. Whether he made a wise move in not having Milbourne bunt as Gantner checks out, with the trainer watching closely.
Freddie Federico, the Milwaukee trainer, out. Here's another look at it again. Now Bobby Brown going in hard, and ball was not hit that hard. Brown with good speed able to get on Gantner. And it is a good, clean, rolling slide.
What Milbourne wanted to do was what you suggested. Hit the ball over the head of Bando, playing in tight for the bunt, or past him, as the case might be. He couldn't control the pitch with his bat that much, and so it wound up going to Yauch. Lem took a chance. He's subject to the second guess here.
Well, I'll tell you, if anybody's going to stay in the ball game, we've talked about Jimmy Gantner. He's a hard-nosed little player, and he has made himself a name on the Milwaukee Ball Club this year as he has taken over that second base job. A tough guy, and he stays in the ball game, and you know he's hurting a little bit. You could see that leg give in a little bit. You see him just still kind of moving around a little bit. Robin Yount right there, as Rick Cerrone will stand in, and Milbourne aboard at first base. There's one out. And the Brewers, of course, still on top, 2-1. Cerrone is flied to left. He's bounced to third. Bando now in the late innings guarding the line. Cooper holding Milbourne. Base hit left field. Oglivie on in a hurry. Milbourne going to go to third. The throw is not in time. And now they've got Cerrone cut off. Cooper goes to second base. Milbourne looking all the time. They go back to third, and they get him!
They played that brilliantly. The Yankees, who made 2 mistakes last inning, making a terrible mistake this inning, as Cerrone overran first, or attempted to go to second when he should not have.
Here he is again, coming over to third. Now the throw was off the mark. Bando goes out just to make the catch. At this particular point, Cerrone is close to being halfway to second base. He decides to go back to first. The throw back over to Oglivie, who fell down. He goes to Gantner. Gantner sees Milbourne off the bag. They go back over for the tag, and the tying run cut down, and now stands at first base in the name of Rick Cerrone.
Cerrone is the man who made the critical error there. But look at Jim Gantner, just almost disabled. Look at the way he held together. Look at his alertness when he made that throw to third.
And Willie Randolph takes a strike. That play goes 7-5-3-4-6.
After the last 2 innings, George Steinbrenner may put all 3 plans into action.
Bando's got to hurry. They just do get him. And the Yankees had a chance to tie. They're turned away, and through 7. It remains 2-1. Milwaukee will be back. The new first baseman for the New York Yankees, Dave Revering, as Watson was run for. Look at that.
Raleigh Fingers is the story there. Now, the Yankees have a similar figure. They won 51 and lost 3 when they led going into the 8th on the same conditions. But Milwaukee doesn't have the negative figure the Yankees have. There's Fingers taking his jacket off when the Yankees trail going into the late innings. Explain why Milburn shouldn't be faulted on that last play.
I will, Howard, as Sal Bando takes the first pitch inside. It'll be Bando, Gantner, and Molitor. Foul away. All he's trying to do is jockey down and get down a little bit to see if there's any possible misplay at third base, but all he did, he's looking at a man who almost, as you say, got his leg tore off. Bando doesn't get the breaking pitch. 1-2. 92. But then all of a sudden, Milbourne got down into no man's land, and Jimmy Gantner took a great gamble. Bando pops it up, and Cerrone will have a play. Out number 1. There he is.
There's Raleigh. Milburn also had to be alert to the opportunity of maybe sneaking home.
That's exactly right.
But the whole situation, and that's why primary blame must go on Cerrone, was precipitated and created by Rick Cerrone.
I've got to say one thing for the Brewers. They handled it perfectly. And here's the young man who turned it around, Jimmy Gantner, who's 0 for 2 today. (2-0). The reason I say Gantner gambled, he's got to know how far Milbourne is down that line, because once he turns and commits himself to go back to third, he's already running Cerrone back to first. Cerrone just keeps on going. And it's 3-0.
That's Sue Gantner. And there is Jim. What a future he's got.
3-1 to count. Milwaukee 2, the Yankees 1, top of the 8th. Foul away. The count goes full at 3-2. That's foul away. The count remains at 3 balls and 2 strikes.
If necessary, Game 5 tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 Central, 4 Pacific. The comeback Brewers against the Yankees.
Winfield, as they pitch him away and play him away, and he flies to Winfield. 2 gone to the top of the order.
Jesse.
Paul Molitor. Molitor is 1 for 3 tonight. He has bounced to third. He singled, scored the first Milwaukee run in the 4th, and he bounced to short in the 6th. The Brewers have played well on the second half of the season on the road, as you look at the score. To right center field, Mumphrey has a play. Calling. And the Brewers are gone in the 8th inning. To the bottom of the 8th, it remains the Milwaukee Brewers 2, the New York Yankees 1. Well, you can see what time of early evening that we are approaching here in New York, as the Brewers lead the New York Yankees by a score of 2-1. To the bottom of the 8th for New York, it'll be Mumphrey, Winfield, and Jackson to face Jim Slayton. Pops him up left side. Yount and Ogilvy calling. They're both calling. Look out. And it's Ogilvy for the catch.
Left fielder, Dave Winfield.
With 1 out. That will bring on Dave Winfield.
It's really an imponderable sport. One would think that if mental mistakes are to be made, the team least likely to make it, the old pros, the settled, mature team, the Yankees. Yet they have made the critical mistakes, mental mistakes.
There you're looking at Jimmy Slayton. Well, we'll have to wait and see, Howard, how big those mistakes will be as you look at the goose. Chris Gossage down in the bullpen. Fingers and McClure right behind him in the Milwaukee bullpen, a right-hander and a left-hander. Oh, 0-1. Bando can fall down and have the belt go right across the middle of the line. That's how close he is. And I know Sal's saying to himself, I hope he didn't hit another one down here like he did that last time. He hit a rocket by him for a double. 1-1 the count. Reggie Jackson on deck. Look at Winfield. That stare, that glare. He's kind of looking out. He has a little meeting with himself right there. Trying to pick the corner and missing.
91 miles an hour, Slayton's fastest pitch. And as Don noted, working carefully, trying to pick off that outside corner. Low and outside.
Loses his bat and fouls it to the right side, so he's staying right in that same location.
It's a very pitchy chase.
You know what? You know, when you're a pitcher, Howard, and you have a man like Dave Winfield up there and the power that he has, but you put a guy like a Winfield or a Frank Howard in that category, and you say, let's see, what do you want? Fastball, low and away? Okay. Well, wait a minute. If he hits one back through the middle, that mound isn't, it's not high enough to dive behind.
What you have to worry about in a one-run ball game is this man's ability to hit it into the seats in the opposite field.
Exactly. Exactly. He's got good power that way. The 2-2 pitch. Just missing. Full count, 3-2. Left-hander, Fingers a right-hander throwing in the Milwaukee bullpen. Struck him out on ball 4.
Marvelous, though, the way he came up with it, moved the ball around, jammed him, and Winfield went for it. It would have been ball 4. You're right.
They're going to the bullpen as Bob Rogers goes to the mound. Now Fingers looking over at McClure and saying, go get him, pal. Look at the pitch again. He stayed outside, and he strikes him out on a bad pitch, and Bob McClure is going to come on.
Of course, he's going to the southpaw against Reggie.
Exactly. So we have another pitching change here at Yankee Stadium. 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. It's 2-1, Milwaukee.
Look at my hair. It's so dirty and oily it won't bounce. So I wash it a lot. But look what can happen.
Bob McClure, he is the 4th Milwaukee pitcher employed by Bob Rogers this afternoon as he plays chess with his hurlers. McClure has worked in a game. He's worked in an inning and a third. He's allowed 3 hits with no runs. So Vukovich started.
A lot of elements in a game like this. There's Jim Slayton. He did a decent enough job, though he was bailed out by Yankee mistakes in the prior inning. But that fellow, worried about his job early in September, has held together and now seems insured in his job with Harry Dalton and Bud Selig, the operating owner. And he has manipulated his people like a chess master today. Deserves a lot of credit.
Now Reggie Jackson, who is 1 for 3 this afternoon, stands in 2 outs. 0-1.
Reggie thought it was high. Did you see him say the word high?
Thought it was. Dave Phillips didn't think so. it outside. 0-2. He threw that one 90 miles an hour.
Just look at that discrepancy, and that tells you why McClure was brought in and Raleigh Fingers not even thought about.
As we have the privilege of those numbers, so do the Milwaukee Scouts.
Of course. That's Mrs. McClure.
Just missing outside. The count goes to 1-2.
Very attractive lady.
Very. Curveball missing. 2-2. Foul away. The count remains at 2 balls and 2 strikes. There's 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th inning, and the Brewers on top 2-1. Foul tipped, and Simmons couldn't hold on to it. The count remains at 2-2.
That was certainly a third ball. Couldn't get the bat out of the way.
Got it. Now Jackson strikes out. The Yankees are gone 1-2-3 in the 8th inning. As Bob McClure closes the door in the 8th. As you look at the pitch again, good fastball, good location. After 8, it's 2-1. Milwaukee will be back with more baseball after this commercial and a word from our local station. Mike Caldwell throwing in the bullpen for the Milwaukee Brewers. He was forced into action at Game 2 in Milwaukee as Robin Yount leads it off, takes the strike. It'll be Yount, Cooper, and Simmons in the top of the 9th.
And drawing upon Caldwell again, just another evidence of Rogers pulling out all the stops.
Hard to Nettles on the river, 1 way.
Because Raleigh, having worked yesterday more than he usually does, as you look at this again, a hot shot right to Nettles.
Here is Cecil Cooper. He is 0 for 2. He has driven in a run with a sacrifice fly. 0-1 to Cecil. That sacrifice fly right now is the difference in the ball game when the Brewers scored their 2 runs in the 4th inning.
Buck wants the ability to negotiate both Raleigh and, if necessary, a new left-hander in the final inning.
0-2 the count. Well, Fingers had been throwing, and I would assume that Raleigh has been down there long enough. He has got himself just to the point to where he started to break maybe a little sweat and say, well, that's it. If I have to do anything, I'll do it out there where it means something. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Struck him out. Cerrone started to roll it back to the mound, and but there were 2 outs on that 93-mile-an-hour fastball, and Ted Simmons comes on. 2-1. The Brewers on top. We've seen a lot of things in a 2-1 ball game. Simmons, excuse me, Howard, go ahead.
No, it's been a series of sustained drama. We've seen much like the Houston-Philadelphia playoff series last year.
Hard down the right field line, a foul ball, says Ken Kaiser.
Just barely. Ken looking at some fans. Ken proved himself last night. That burly body, the former bouncer.
Yes, sir, from Rochester. Right there And Kaiser, you saw him a minute ago just stick his fingers up and said just that far as he looks at Ron Hansen, the first base coach for the Brewers.
Fellow that size can be convincing.
And is. To Revering, he goes to the bag, and the Brewers are going in the ninth. And listen to Yankee Stadium come alive. 1, 2, 3. Milwaukee goes as we go to the bottom of the ninth inning. It's the Milwaukee Brewers 2 and the New York Yankees 1. And coming up will be Lou Piniella, Greg Nettles, and Dave Revering.
Vukovich having a simply brilliant game. Milwaukee scoring in the 4th inning. Paul Molitor a single. Young a hit and run single. Coop a sacrifice fly. Ben Ogilvy finally getting his 1 hit of the series, but what a hit, a double. So that made it 2-0 in the 6th inning. Mumphrey safe on Coop's error. Winfield doubled. Piniella grounded out, driving in a run, but Winfield made a mistake trying to take third on a ball hit in front of him, and that really killed that inning. And then, of course, there were the Yankee mistakes in the 7th inning that cost them possibly even a big inning. Now, for those of you joining us late, Philadelphia edged Montreal on a George Vukovich home run. Came in the 10th inning. Tuggaroo had another victory. Reardon, the former Met, both former Mets. That's interesting. The series tied at 2. Marshall Edwards now in center field. Gorman Thomas out. He of the damaged hand, although he did play center today. And we'll have more football scores for you. But I just wanted to pay quick homage to Pete Vukovich and to Russell, who started for the Yankees. Arizona giving USC trouble. Penn State an easy winner. Texas 2, Pittsburgh 2. North Carolina also. And Michigan over State. Southern Mississippi tied Alabama. Brigham Young crushing Nevada, Las Vegas. Rutgers over Army, and Clemson had an easy time of it in its game. So you're pretty much updated as much as possible within the strictures of limited time. We go to the bottom of the 9th. The old warhorse, Lou Piniella up, and Mr. Don Drysdale here for the play-by-play.
Well, Piniella, who has been at bat the one time, as Howard mentioned before, hit the high chopper to Robin Yount that they got Winfield in the rundown on, will stand in and face McClure. There's action in the bullpen for the Milwaukee Brewers. Right-hander Raleigh Fingers up and throwing. A time call a moment as they tried to get the attention of Marshall Edwards in center field. He was over in right center, and they move him now to straightaway center. Bando on the line at third. Cooper on the line at first. Pops him up. Playable. Robin Yount calling. Out number 1. That will bring on the third baseman, Greg Nettles. Nettles 0 for 2 this afternoon, is flying to center twice. He walked his first time at bat.
Nettles unable to do anything offensively in this series. Not getting around on the ball.
That's the story from Yankee Stadium in New York. Fouled back, and Nettles had a good swing at a high fastball.
It's got to be up there for Gray to get it out.
The man with the helmet on is Bobby Mercer down in that Yankee dugout. Breaking pitch outside, 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. The Brewers lead by 1, 2-1 in the bottom of the 9th. Curveball, turns the shoulder, takes the strike. 1-2. to Gantner. Waits for Cooper to go to the bag, and Nettles is retired.
Start spreading the news. We're not leaving today.
And here comes Barry Foote.
We're going to be a part of it tomorrow. New York, New York.
Your attention, please.
Now, Barry Foote, you see, with the 208 average, he had something going as you look at the Yankee dugout. Yogi Berra holding the thermos bottle there, the hand warmer, Cerrone waiting for it. There's Rigetti, Piniella, Revering as you move on down. And here comes Bob Rogers. Rogers out to talk to McClure. They know that they've got Bobby Mercer on the bench. You saw Bobby a while ago. So here's where Rogers has to make a move, and he will make a move.
How do you like that? For 1 out.
As soon as they announce Barry Foote, Rogers goes to the mound. And here comes another old war horse. As this young man right here with rotor cuff problems all year long, as he is greeted by his teammates down in the Milwaukee dugout, Bob McClure. What a performance he turned in.
We said they were a different team going into this game, brimming with confidence. That's what yesterday's victor did to them.
Your attention, please. Ladies and gentlemen.
As Raleigh Fingers comes on, Howard talked with Raleigh about the disposition of a reliever and what it's all about. Let's listen.
Does a relief pitcher, especially one so great as you, need a special kind of disposition, a special kind of character that enables you to keep your composure under the most difficult situations?
It's probably years of practice. So, you know, it's just like anything else. Once you get used to doing something, it kind of comes easy. My first 2 or 3 years as a relief pitcher, it was kind of tough for me to take losses. If I'd go out there and get beat or something, it'd kind of stay with me. But after a while, you just got to say it's water under the bridge, and you got to pick up another baseball and throw it. And that's the kind of attitude I think any relief pitcher has to have. You have to forget about the last ball game and go at the next one.
Now, Raleigh Fingers, as he talks with teammate Sal Bando on the mound, as Bobby Mercer has been announced, and he will come on and pinch hit for Barry Foote. Foote was coming on to pinch hit for Bobby Brown, who actually ran up for Revering. Revering was in the ball game in that position. They announced Foote. Rogers went to the mound and brings in Fingers as Bobby Mercer will step in. 2 outs in the Yankee 9th, and the Brewers on top 2-1. For Fingers, he is making his 3rd appearance in this series, a record of 1-0. He won here last night. He's worked in 4 1/3 innings. He's allowed 6 hits, 3 runs, 2 of those earned, and he struck out 4.
10 blocks.
Danielle Finger, Raleigh's wife. Cheers, I'm going to be a basket case.
Well, she's not alone. I would like to see Bud Selig right now, the president of the Milwaukee Brewers. He might be in a prone position. Knowing Bud.
Well, they've got to unpack those bags again.
Back to the room, possibly, as Bobby Mercer will have something to say about that. Pinch hit last night, 0 for 1.
Opening day, pinch hit home run. Key pinch hit home run against Baltimore in a recent series during the 2nd season.
Now Mercer ready to go as Cooper is on the outfield grass at first base and about a giant step off the line. There's Cecil. Gantner back at second. The outfield deep as Bando stands about a step and a half off the bag at third and even with the bag. Go. It's Fingers against Mercer. 1-0. The first time, as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, since 1977 that Raleigh has come back with as many innings under his belt as he worked last night. Misses away, and the count 2 balls and no strikes. hands on that jaw a little harder. 3-0. Bob Lemon taking in what is going on as the grounds crew cleans up the field a moment. And it's 3-0 to Bobby Mercer. There's the strike, and it goes to 3-1. You think it doesn't take something to be a successful relief pitcher? High, and he walks him. Well, the Yankees stay alive as Bobby Mercer draws a 2-out walk from Raleigh Fingers. He will stand at first base, and Larry Milbourne will come on. Milbourne 0 for 3 this afternoon. He is lined to right. He has bounced to short, and he was on a fielder's choice. Fouled away left side up in the top deck. 0-1 the count. That man has caught a lot of pitchers, Bob Rogers. He was a good catcher, Howard. And you know what is going through his mind as he tries to insert himself in the minds of Simmons and Fingers.
We're in a scene now where every picture speaks for itself. Bob Lemon looking for lightning in a bottle as Rogers will pace a little bit in the Milwaukee dugout. Lemon very calm, very cool. Bob Rogers pacing and saying, give me a chance. As the faithful come alive at Yankee Stadium. A bouncer, a tough play. They gotta hurry, and they don't get it. They throw it away, and going to third is Mercer. It's got to be a base hit for Milbourne and an error on Gantner. Look at it again. Milbourne so fast getting down, especially from the left side. He was across the bag. The throw errant. Mercer on third, where an infield hit would score him. Rogers to the mound to talk to Raleigh Fingers. And ironically, at bat, Rick Cerrone, the man who mistakenly overran first, may have been trying for second, caused the base running foul up that may have cost the Yankees not only a run, but a big inning in the seventh when they trailed by only one. So the situation of drama expresses itself in the way that sometimes it only can in the game of baseball.
Bobby Mercer at third. He's the important run, the tying run for the New York Yankees. 2 out. At first base is Milbourne. Rogers to the mound, undoubtedly talking, what are we going to do if Milbourne decides to take off for second base? And here's Cerrone. Oh, 1 the count. Fans at Yankee Stadium on their feet. And Danielle Fingers is the same. 2-1. Milwaukee, bottom of the ninth. 2 outs, 2 on. Pops him up, foul. Simmons will give it a try, but it's back out of play, and he will make sure it's back there. So once again, the Yankees are down to their last strike in their last out. Milbourne was there, but he hit the chopper for the base hit. And Bando now will talk with Fingers. You know he's tired, but they've been together through a lot of wars, those two. He might want to know exactly how you're going to pitch him now, because I might be able to cheat a little bit in guarding the line at third. 0-2. There's Bando. He's off the line a little bit. Bobby Mercer at third. Straight back. Ooh, he had a good swing at a high.
Yes, he went upstairs to him, which was interesting. Fingers, such a great veteran professional. As you look at this pitch again, knows that he's got 2 strikes on Rick, wants to make him hit his Fingers pitch, and knows pitching him low and outside, Rick is adept at going to the opposite field.
Well, the fans again come alive. You see that little shake of the head. Pops him up, foul again, right side. Try to move it in on him and jam him.
Raleigh is tired. You can see it.
You know he's tired. Somewhere you search, you think, your mind starts working. Give me just a little bit more. Let me get one more good pitch out of it. And then you turn around and you start the whole process all over again. Danielle Fingers. A deep sigh by Fingers. Struck him out. There will be tomorrow. The Brewers stay alive. Raleigh Fingers strikes out Rick Cerrone, and the Yankees gone in the 9th inning as they leave the tying run 90 feet away, and Bobby Mercer. Danielle Fingers. You think she isn't happy? Yes, you did, Danielle. You did do it.
Really a remarkable succession of pictures displaying the emotions through the individual faces of both teams. And that lady's joy following a suspense that was almost unbearable. So typical of the kind of accelerating tension that builds in a game like this. And, of course, a depressed Yankee team now, but there's another game tomorrow, and we will be there to cover it for you, as Raleigh Fingers did draw upon his inner resources and strike out Rick Cerrone, who wound up with, from his point of view, a most difficult and unfortunate game. There's the line score again. Vukovic and Reichel, both with gallant efforts, and all the way through a Brewer team that had the guts to come back and establish why it has had the best record overall in the American League. Tomorrow there will be Game 5. The Brewers against the Yankees, 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, and then Pacific. And the Goose hangs high, or has until now. He'll get a shot tomorrow. We'll be back after this word from our local stations.
So here at Yankee Stadium, you see the line score. The Milwaukee Brewers have defeated the New York Yankees by a score of 2-1. And we now go to game number 5 tomorrow night. Vukovic, a gallant effort, the winner. The save by Finger. The loss goes to Russell. The series tied at 2 apiece. The line score, 2 runs, 4 hits, 2 errors for the Milwaukee Brewers. They only left 2. The Yankees, a run on 5 hits, no errors. They left 8. And right now, let's go down to Jim Lampley and today's winning pitcher, Pete Vukovich.
Thanks very much, Don. With me, the man who got the win in what had to be a very courageous effort today. Pete, we had tight shots of you several times on the mound, and you appeared to be in extreme discomfort. How badly do you feel?
Pretty happy now, but physically I'm a little down. It was a very important game. We had to go, and the guys really played well. Got the key runs. Rick Ruschel threw the ball well, and the Yankees kept battling out there. Got some fine defensive efforts out there, and we battled hard and came out on top.
Realistically, before the game, did you expect to be able to go as long and as hard as you did?
To be honest, yes. I wanted to go 7 innings. I didn't make it, but as things progressed, I became somewhat ill. After the 4th inning, I regurgitated a bit in the men's room back there in the runway, and was a little dizzy and woozy, and just try to stay in the bubble and keep my mind on my work and keep going out there and battling, and things happened to work out, Jim.
Time after time, Don Drysdale pointed out that a big element of your success is the ability to throw the breaking ball and get it over the plate when you're behind in the count. That takes concentration. Did you find it a lot harder to concentrate with the physical discomfort you were under today?
No, the biggest problem I had early was the cold weather and the wind. Believe it or not, it was causing my eyes to water heavily, and I couldn't pick up the plate. It was really blurry every time I'd go to throw the ball. That was the biggest problem I had focusing on the target. All in all, though, I don't think Don's absolutely correct in what he says. There is some validity to what he says. In fact, that I do throw breaking balls and off-speed pitches when I'm behind the count, but I'm sure if he checks into it, we'll find out that it evens out relatively 50-50.
No one's denigrating your fastball at all, Pete, and certainly not Don. Did you find that the mood along the bench today was one of confidence for you guys?
Yes, before the game also. In the locker room, we were up for the game. We had our backs against the wall the whole last month of the season, and this is a great unit. We got quite a blend of veterans and young kids and guys with middle-term service, so to speak, and confidence is one thing that wasn't lacking at this unit. And like I said, we had our backs against the wall before, and we just came out battling, and we came out on top.
Well, congratulations on a victory. Congratulations on being here. You were somewhere else a year ago. Let's go back up to Don Drysdale.
Thank you very much, Jim. And again, congratulations to Pete Vukovich. A great effort. Once again, the score. The Milwaukee Brewers defeat the New York Yankees 2-1. Game 5 tomorrow. The final score of our game was 2-1 Milwaukee. And be sure to join us tomorrow. Game 5 of the American League Eastern Divisional Series. Game time will be at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 Central, and 4 Pacific. Also, don't miss Monday Night Football, where the undefeated Miami Dolphins will be in Buffalo to take on the Bills. The executive producer of ABC Sports is Roone Arledge. Today's game was produced by Chuck Howard, directed by Chet Forty. Technical Director Bill Morris and Mike Blazo, Associate Director Bob Hirsch. Today's game has been brought to you by Light Beer, everything you've always wanted in a beer and less. And by Chevrolet, who invite you to see all the good things for 1982 at your local Chevy dealer. Chevy's makes good things happen. Once again, the final score 2-1 Brewers, and travel arrangements made through and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United flies more people to Hawaii than any other airlines, and that's what Friendly Skies are all about. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader